안녕하세요, 여러분. 주니쌤입니다. So, welcome back to another quick grammar lesson. Actually, put quotes around quick because it's I usually yap too much for it to be a quick lesson. But today I'm going to talk about a way to say because in Korean. There's actually like 5, 6, or more ways to say it, but this is one of them, one of the most common ways. So I'm going to explain how this one works. It has another usage other than because, which is similar to go, meaning and. So they're basically interchangeable, actually. So if you know go, you can basically switch it out with also for the same meaning if you want to. But today we're looking at because. Now, verb or adjective stem plus 아서, 어서, 해서. So if it ends with a vowel, if the last vowel is a or o, instead of 아요, we're going to do 아서. 좁다, for example, which I believe this is narrow. This means narrow. 좁다. So last vowel is the o. So last vowel is the o. So we add aso. 좁아서. 좁아서. Okay? Anything other than a or o, we're just going to put also there. So for example, 있다. Take off the da, we get the verb stem by itself. Verb stem is just eat. Because the last vowel right there is e. It is not a or o, meaning we need also. So 있어서, 있어서. And then here's an irregular one, actually. So 춥다, to be cold. 춥다, to be cold. So usually with that one, we take off the da and we take off the b. And then a little bit weird, but we have to add a u before we conjugate. So if you think of it, it was actually like this. Took off the b, took off the da, 추우. Now from there, we look at the last vowel. It is u, so we need the also form. No need to put a whole another unji there. You can just put all by itself and it will naturally contract into that form. 추워서. And then anything that's ending with 하다, we're just going to change it. Transform it into 해서. To clean is 청소하다. 청소하다. So we just change the whole 하다 part into 해서. 청소해서. 청소해서. Okay, that's the conjugation. Before we actually look at some examples, let's look at some important rules to know. So firstly, the tense of the sentence will be expressed in the very last verb. So you're not adding the past tense form right next to that also. For example, if I wanted to say I was busy, so I could not go. Let's see. You would say it like this. 제가 바빠서 갈 수 없었어요. 제가 바빠서 갈 수 없어요. Or 갈 수 없었어요. So notice 바빠서 does not have past tense. Then second one, this is how a lot of people do it and it's wrong, is you put the double 시읒, the double S there, which you're not supposed to do. 제가 바빴어서 갈 수 없었어요. And let's not do that. The tense is going to be shown in the very last verb of the sentence in this case. So sometimes it will be different, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let me fix this. This grammar can be used with adjectives and verbs. Nouns also can be used with this concept, but it has a different form, which we'll look at later. So, a few scenarios in which you're not supposed to use this form. You cannot use it when you want to make commands. So that's going to be these two. 우세요, 아오 주세요, 주세요 by itself. You cannot use any of those with 아어서. In this case, you're either going to have to choose a different because, if you've already learned it. If you haven't learned any other way to say because, then you're just going to break it up into two sentences. So you're going to say like, actually, I'll show that in a second. And you also can't make a request or a suggestion. So that's usually this type of form. 가요, 할까요, 같이 갈까요? That type of form. And you can't make any let's do type of sentences. 자, 가자, 먹자, 갑시다. You can't make those types of sentences with also. So let's look at this example. The wrong way to do it. 오늘 약속이 있어서 내일 만날까요? And can't do that. You'd have to choose a different one. For example, here's one right here. 우니까 오늘 약속이 있으니까 내일 만날까요? And that is correct. Let me separate these. 내일 만날까요? I have an appointment today, so shall we meet tomorrow? And if you haven't learned any other way to say because, I'll show you what we can do here. So you just have to split it into two sentences. 오늘 약속이 약속이 있어요. Okay, stop. Then you can put something like a conjunction like 그래서 내일 만날까요? That's another way you can do it. Okay, let's look at some examples. So a thing that you can do with this form, which is kind of fun, is you can make this little phrase and you can say things like, sorry for being late, thank you for coming, you know. And the phrase we already know, like this, nice to meet you. 만나서 반갑습니다. 만나서, because I'm meeting you, 반갑습니다. I'm glad. In other words, I'm glad to meet you. Nice to meet you. And here's another one. 늦어서 죄송합니다. 늦어서 죄송합니다. I'm sorry for arriving late. I'm sorry that I'm late. I ate a lot, so my stomach hurts. 밥을 많이 먹어서 I ate a lot. 배가 아파요. My stomach hurts. So what you need to know, the biggest thing, is that the reason why is going to come first. So why 배가 아파요? It's because 많이 먹었어요. I ate a lot. So reason always comes first with this. 그 여자가 너무 예뻐서, because that girl is very pretty, 저는 그녀를 만나고 싶어요. I want to meet her. 그녀를 만나고 싶어요. I know some people think it's weird to add the object particle when it's a person, but it's not like that. When you're thinking of object, it's not like actually inanimate object or something like that. It's just saying, who do I want to meet? I want to meet her. You know, it's just assigning a rule to a word in the sentence to let the person I'm talking to know what that word or what that person, what we're doing, what's going on there. Here's the dialogue. 이번 주말에 시간이 있어요? 이번 주말에 시간이 있어요? Do you have time this weekend? Side note, notice it is 이번 and not just 이 주말. For this weekend, when we're talking about times, instead of just using 이 like we usually would, we want to add 번 to that. And second sentence, 고향에 돌아가서 시간이 없어요. I'm going back to my hometown, so I don't have time. 고향에 돌아가서, going back to my hometown. So, right, reason first, and then as a consequence of that, or effect of that, on the other side. Okay? I'm bored, therefore, I want to go to the park. I just think it's kind of silly to have therefore. There, it seems so formal. 저는 심심해서 공원에 가고 싶어요. So what is the reason I want to go to the park? The reason is 심심해요. I'm bored. 점심을 안 먹어서 지금 먹고 있어. 점심을 안 먹어서 지금 먹고 있어. I didn't eat lunch, so I'm eating now. Reason first, why am I eating now? It's because I didn't eat lunch. We have the present progressive form at the very end. This just tells that I'm doing this action this very second. I didn't study. 공부하지 않아서 시험을 못 봤습니다. 공부하지 않아서 시험을 못 봤습니다. I didn't study, so I didn't do well on the exam. So this is interesting. When you're taking an exam, it's said as 시험보다. So you're like, wait, to look at the test, to look at the exam, that's kind of weird. Yeah, but you can also use 보다 when it comes to reading as well. So maybe Korean is a little more flexible with the usage of 보다 than we are. Yeah, 시험을 못 봤습니다. I didn't do well. 그 남자를 만나고 싶어. I almost said eat. 만나고 싶어서 따라가고 있어요. I want to meet that guy, so I'm following him. Okay, that's kind of creepy. But yeah, this is a good example that you can put pretty much any concept you've learned so far. You can attach so, also next to it. So, go 싶다, instead of us having it at the end, like we've seen a few examples now, we're having it right before. I want to meet that guy. That's my reason. So, 따라가다, to follow. Not online follow, like actually following, stalking. So that is, I don't know, seems a little creepy, but okay. Let me fix this. 철수 is saying, 그거 살 거예요? Are you going to buy it? Will you buy it? Will you buy that? And then Juno says, 아니요, 비싸서 안 살 거예요. No, it's expensive, so I'm not going to buy it. 비싸서 안 살 거예요. So our reason is it's expensive. Although, when it's a dialogue like this, it's kind of obvious. Like, you don't need to repeat the whole second line. So when you're actually having a conversation, you probably just say, just 아니요, 비싸요. You know? Like, I know people, like, when they're learning Korean, they want to learn how to make the most long, complex sentences. But when you're actually speaking Korean, you actually don't. Unless you're having a deep philosophical question or conversation. You usually don't. It's usually the easy stuff that you learn. So you can have conversations earlier than you think you can when you're learning. Here's another one that you can also do. You can put also at the end of a sentence. I don't really have many examples of that here. So this means because it's expensive. 비쌌어요. Because it's expensive. So you could say that in this dialogue. 그거 살 거예요? 아니요, 비쌌어요. Right? Another thing Koreans do. This is why these videos take so long, because I'm yapping too much. You can also write it like this. It means the same thing. Because it's expensive. 비싸서 그래요. Excuse me. Okay, nouns. So they have a whole separate form here. So there's actually two, as you can see. And now I always mix it up. I don't know which is the correct one and which is the one that everyone uses. So one of these is like technically correct. let's say from a textbook, they might be like, oh, this is the way you say it. But when you're speaking, there's another one. I believe 이어서 is the one that's found in textbooks, and 이라서 is the one that's said in conversation. But you get to choose which one you want to use. It's up to you. But maybe check that out because I'm unsure which one is which. Okay. So we're always going to add also next to ida and never also, just because the last vowel of that is e. So you don't ever have to think about that. But anyways, it's Sunday, so 일요일이어서 it's the park. So 공원이어서 I'm a doctor. So 의사이어서 he's a man. So 남자이어서, right? And then there's also another form of it for things that end in a vowel. So you can always, no matter if it ends in a consonant or a vowel, you can always use 이어서. And then there's a form that's only for vowel endings. So when the word ida is attached to things like this, 의사, 여자, and 남자, that 이요 merges to 요, or it can merge to 요. 여서, 의사여서, she's a doctor, so 여자여서 because I'm a woman, 남자여서 because he's a man, and so on and so forth. And then there's simply a difference because of ease of pronunciation. If you were to say 여서, it is hard to pronounce because your tongue has to move from the L to the 요 right away. So let's look at some examples. This school is an elementary school, so there are a lot of children in the neighborhood. 이 학교는 초등학교라서 이 동네 어린이들이 많아요. Reason first, there's a lot of children in the neighborhood. 이 학교는 초등학교. Wait. This school is an elementary school, so there are a lot of children in the neighborhood. All right. Sorry. I was thinking of it the other way around. But yeah, the reason is first. This school is an elementary school. 이 학교는 초등학교. So we could do 초등학교여서 or 초등학교라서, like that. So nouns that end with a vowel, we're going just 라서. Ends in a consonant, we're going 이라서. Okay, this weekend is a long weekend, so I will go to our mom's house. 이번 주말이 연휴라서 우리 엄마 집에 갈 거예요. This is a studio apartment, so it is small. 이 방은 원룸이라서 너무 작아요. 이 방은 원룸이라서 너무 작아요. This is a studio apartment, so it is too small. And this isn't the latest cell phone, so the app is really slow. 최신 핸드폰이 아니라서 앱이 아주 느려요. 최신 핸드폰이 아니라서 앱이 아주 느려요. Or 핸드폰이 아니어서 앱이 아주 느려요. Okay, so that is all for 아어서. And hopefully I can make more grammar videos soon. Check out all the other stuff that I have. I have quite a few videos now because I've been consistent. Everybody applaud me. Okay, so at the end here, I'm going to link some videos that I think might be worth it for you to check out, things you might like. And please leave a like or a comment to let YouTube know that this is a good video and they should recommend it to the people who need it. And I'll see you next time. 다음에 봐요.